We're very thrilled to have all of you here. It's been a very kind of crazy couple of years, and we're glad to all be celebrating together. It's great to see so many familiar faces. The Alumni Association has been doing some really great things. We have a great board of trustees. A lot of changes have been happening. We're looking forward to all of you becoming members and being a part of our group as well. Tonight's ceremony will be led by Jimmy Leach. He is the president of the Alumni Association. Big round of applause for Jimmy. He's done an amazing job with his team getting this event off the ground again after 2 years of not having one. So we're very blessed to have him and have this event again. So we're very thrilled. Lots of fun things tonight. At this time, I am going to bring up Jeff Chase. He's just going to give us a quick welcome and a blessing that we're all here healthy, safe, and happy. So thank you all. We look forward to talking later tonight.
We certainly are excited to have our induction after a year absence. So if you'd please bow your head. Lord, we are thankful for this opportunity to honor those who have made an investment in excellence. We ask that you bless each one as well as the mentors who have supported them. Take care of each and everyone present tonight. May we live in a way that honors you. In your wonderful name we pray. Amen. At this time, Jim Leach will come up.
Thank you. Dr. Goggin was supposed to be here, and he could not be, but he wanted to pass on his welcome to everyone on behalf of the school system. We are honored to have Tony Cipollone, our athletic director, and he's going to come forth and share some thoughts on Westlake athletics and the school system. Tony.
Thanks, Jim. Good evening, and we want to thank you so much for coming out and celebrating the induction of our new class into our Westlake Hall of Fame. As you may or may not know, Westlake is unique in the fact that we don't have just an athletic Hall of Fame, we have a Hall of Fame. And so you'll be hearing a lot of great things about our inductees this evening. I'm obviously not Dr. Goggin. He sends his regrets of not being here. He is actually with his mother who had knee replacement surgery this morning. So he is with us in spirit this evening. As Jim said, I am the director of athletics. I'm also a parent and a resident of Westlake. And I'm just so excited. I've been here. This is my 12th year. And just to see the growth of this organization and how they've brought this to almost 200 people sitting in this room from, I think when we started, maybe there was like 35 or 40. So it's been great. I'm also the parent of a Westlake grad, and I'm also the parent of a current Westlake high school student. He'll be number 84 out on the field tomorrow night. So little plug there. I hope that you have a great evening this evening. I hope that some of you are staying around for the weekend and you can reconnect with old friends and hopefully make some new friends. I want to give a special thank you to our alumni organization for just the hard work that they have done, the hard work that they're continuing to do. The one thing that they are doing this evening that you're going to see is different, those of you that have been to this, is that we have some of our students in here. And I'm not going to steal anybody's thunder, but these are some of our best and brightest students. And I think it's just a way to connect our current students to our alums. So please, after the event or during dinner, please feel free to go over and talk to some of our students because these are some of our best and brightest. It's obviously a crazy year for us last year. We're hoping it stays uncrazy this year. We are also very excited for tomorrow night. We hope you'll enjoy the parade. The weather looks like it's going to be great. The parade starts at 5:30. The game starts at 7. In case you haven't heard, it is against Bay. It is for the Little Brown Jug. And just a couple of stats. The series has been going on for 71 years, 72 years, I think it is, and it's 34, and 2. That's what it is. So it's interesting. So prior to the game tomorrow night, we'll have the traditional introduction of our Rose Arch members, also the crowning of our king and queen. So Get there early, stay late. Hopefully we see a Demon victory. Again, thank you for coming tonight, and go Demons.
Just one other quick comment. The person who was up here before, and I want to point her out, Megan Matu. She's the Alumni Coordinator on behalf of the school system. So Megan's really the glue. She really is. She helps us tremendously on all the different committees. So thank you, Megan, for all you do. We'll have dinner, and then after dinner, we'll start the inductions. Thanks very much. The other thing I wanted to make sure is in your program, we list the various support companies that helped us tonight, and that is Dean's Greenhouse. And I know there were some deans here, so I wanted them to stand, please, and thank them. All the flowers in the middle of your tables are from Dean's Greenhouse. And then Silver Fox Florists did all the corsages, so thank them. Nick Mayer Lincoln is going to have the car for the Hall of Fame inductees that are in the parade on tomorrow. They get to ride in luxury for Nick Mayer Lincoln, so thank them. And then Seta Trophy has done our plaques for a number of years, and the current ones are in the back. There's also, we did a slide presentation of all the previous inductees that are on the slide presentation on the big TV. So thanks to Seta Trophy. The other thing, if Tom Hill is still in the back, I just want to, if we can at least hold up his hand to Tom Hill, I wanted to recognize our former music leader. It is amazing that Tom's here. And I appreciate Mary Beth Schneidler picking him up and getting him here, so that's really nice. Just a couple other things, and then we'll move on. There's an information table in the back. It has things relating to Hall of Fame nomination forms. There's membership forms. There's our event on November 4th at Hooley House. So there's all information there, so if you would stop by and get that, that would be great. And lastly, before we start the induction, there's a number of former inductees that are here from the Hall of Fame, and I'd like them to all stand and be recognized at this point. All our previous inductees, please rise. And thank you for coming. I wrote a letter to all of them and said, I want to make this event going forward. I know the Hall of Fame committee does too, of almost like the Heisman or going to Canton for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, where you just go because it's a cool event. So I appreciate everybody being here. So we'll get going. And just as Tony had said, a little different, what we're going to do is we'll have a mentor who's someone who has some relationship with the inductee and a student, and they'll handle the introduction of each of the inductees. And that's something new, and I really appreciate Tony and our committee coming up with that idea. I think it's fantastic to connect the current students with the previous graduates. So with that, I'm going to call on Mary Beth and Riley to come forward and start the night off. Thanks.
They always tell me I have too much to say, so I just brought a few notes tonight to let you know a little bit about this team. Because anybody who knows me knows that this was probably one of the most exciting things I've ever done in my life, was to coach a golf team at Westlake High School. And so I have 3 words, and I'm going to be short. Where's Jim? Jim, this will be short. I have 3 words: honored, appreciative, and blessed. And that is how this team always made me feel. They honored. This team was truly an honor to coach. They were all outstanding young women, dedicated, hardworking, and fun. They represented Westlake High School with dignity, integrity, respect, and high moral character. They respected each other, and they worked hard to improve their games for the success of their team. They honored each other, and they also respected their opponents. Of course, golf is that special game where it's a game of honor. Appreciative. I appreciated every one of the girls for the way they handled themselves and treated each other. This season that they were so successful was 9/11, and we had to endure that also in the middle of this. And that was very hard to come back from. They were respectful and made it easy for me to tell them how much I appreciated all they did. I looked forward each day to their willingness to learn and improve. They never ceased to amaze me. And the last one is blessed. And all of the older people in this audience will know what it is to be blessed when you graduate from school, when you get married, you find a job that you truly enjoy, you get married, you have a family, you have children, and in my case now, grandchildren, who I am proud to say are Westlake students. So as you get older, I have to tell you that this wonderful golf team and the teams that followed were a true blessing. What a joy to watch their success, the fun we had, the challenges we faced, the fact that every team wanted to beat them. When we started to play, there wasn't a team that didn't want to beat Westlake. That's hard. When you're a golf team for the first time and every team that you play, their only goal is to beat you, that's a hard thing to do when you're a brand new team, and they were experienced teams. I'm just so honored that they are the first female team to be inducted into the Westlake Hall of Fame. So as I introduce Riley Mcmillan, who is also another Westlake graduate or Westlake student who carries on that honor of Demon Pride and is participating in the golf team and softball team. And I understand they won a tournament yesterday, which I'm very, very proud of them to do that. And Riley, I want to thank you so much for being here. It means so much to see the golf team and the members of the golf team, and for you to give up the time to be here tonight. That is so nice. She's going to tell you a little bit more about the team. And I just think that how everything has been organized for this event tonight has just been so nice. So Riley's going to introduce, but before she does, I just want to extend a congratulations to this golf team. They were absolutely unbelievable, and they set a pattern for the next 8 or 9 years that I coached, that each team wanted to equal what this first-year team did. And to me, that shows the character of the team. So Riley, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Okay. I'm gonna hold this. The 2001 girls golf team was quite the amazing team, for many reasons. It was the first season that Westlake High School had established a girls golf team, a true rookie year for all the members. The 10 members who had to walk down a newly established path, generating uniforms for the teams, establishing a practice schedule, and playing many new golf courses. It was also the first year that the SWC would crown a girls golf champion. This team had a great foundation because 2 seniors who had previously played on the boys golf team, twins, Christian and Karavanek. They were truly outstanding players on the team that would set the path for success for the golf team for many years to come. Each were identified in the top 10 golfers in the area prior to the start of the season, and for that reason, they were also listed in the top teams in the area in the Cleveland PD. This team did not disappoint their followers. Their overall record had them undefeated in match play at 20-0. Only one match had them winning by less than 25 strokes. They placed first in sectionals, fourth in districts, and went on to play in the state tournament. Besides being great golfers and establishing many records that are still intact today, 20 years later, this team has had character and a wonderful camaraderie. It was truly a memorable year because of their character. This team set the path for success for many years to come. Because the girls wanted to continue winning ways of the first team. They established a winning place at the top for girls golf in Westlake. We are overjoyed to see some of these teammates here tonight, along with family members, as they are inducted as the first female team into the Westlake Hall of Fame. It is with great pleasure and distinct honor that I now introduce Elena Goldens, Julie Frey-Pills, and Lauren Butcher-Mass to represent the 2001 girls golf team.
Our next inductee, Dr. Jean Bishop, and I'll call on Dell and Michelle to do the introduction, please.
Good evening. My name is Del Youngless, graduate of the class of 1981. We're doing a little 40th reunion activities here this weekend. My parents graduated in the class of 1959. Let's see if I can get this up a little closer here. And in next year they were high school sweethearts, and next year they'll have been married for 60 years. Three sisters that also graduated from Westlake. A niece that graduated last year, and one that's a junior this year. So we have a long family tradition in Westlake. Before I bring up our next student presenter, I wanted to interject a personal note about my experience with our next inductee, Dr. Bishop. It took me a little while to find this, but this is my project from 9th grade honor science. It was in the last box that I looked. Those are up here. See, I got an A plus 70 over 70, which was very nice. But the reason I brought this is because there's also a blue ribbon here. I don't know if it was compulsory that we had to do these projects or voluntary, but Dr. Bishop, and I don't know if there were other students, I can't remember. I remember being there, but we went down to Cleveland State for the Northeastern Ohio Science and Engineering Fair. And this would have been when I was about 14 years old. So I was a freshman at Parkside Junior High. And I remember bits and pieces about it. I didn't think my project was all that good compared to some of the other ones that were there. But we were sitting in the stands when they were going to, going to announce the winners. And Dr. Bishop said to me, always remember, shoot for the moon, and if you don't get there, you'll be among the stars. And then they announced my name, and I got a first place blue ribbon. That's why we're here tonight, for the teams and the coaches and the teachers and the other inductees, so that we can honor them and everything that they did for us as students and as administrators and for the community. And I'm very happy to be involved with this tonight. Now it's my honor to introduce you to Michelle Xiao, and who's going to tell you more about the accomplishments of Dr. Bishop. But a little bit about Michelle first. She's currently a senior, graduating in the class of 2022. She's been a student of Westlake City Schools since kindergarten. She's currently the senior captain of the Science Olympiad. She's a co-editor of the yearbook. She's a vice president of the Model UN. She's the president of the Asian American Club. In her spare time, she's a member of the varsity track and field team. She's in the Westlake Marching Band, also a member of the National Honor Society, and plays piano for Company D. After graduating, Michelle is currently considering attending The Ohio State University or Case Western Reserve University, both good Ohio schools, and planning to major in health sciences. And with that, Michelle.
Tonight, we have the opportunity to honor a person who set the standard as a teacher of science and also made the Westlake school system unique because of her leadership and knowledge of astronomy. Our next honorary inductee is Dr. John Bishop. Dr. Bishop has been teaching in the Westlake schools from 1971 until she retired in 2006. Retirement was short-lived as she returned the following fall on a part-time position as planetarium director at Parkside. While at Westlake High, John taught a variety of science classes, including astronomy and geology. She started the Westlake High School's Science Olympiad team, and in cooperation with her husband Alan, colleague Carol Fisher, and parents, led the Westlake Science Olympiad team to the state finals. Throughout her time as planetarium director, she always gave herself well beyond the normal classroom day. Dr. Bishop offered many after-school and evening classes for students in all grades and for teachers, made arrangements for special space program and astronomy speakers in our auditorium. Because of her efforts with students, Dr. Bishop was selected by her fellow teachers as Teacher of the Year. With her high school students as helpers, Dr. Bishop conducted district-wide programs with a mobile astronomy observatory bought and used by 5 area schools. She also formed a group at WHS of programs for girls called Women in Science. At Parkside, John led extracurricular creative writing club and science club for middle school students. A very special day occurred on August 21st, 2017, when Dr. Bishop led an observation of a solar eclipse and conducted a viewing session at Porter Library. In the planetarium, Jean stressed interactive programs in which students discovered and recorded direction of sunrise, sunset, and predicted positions of sky objects. She also often had students use small models such as Earth and Moon spheres to relate the view from Earth we get in the planetarium to the view of the Earth and Moon as if you were in space. She presents programs for many disciplines and subjects. Some are different culture sky ideas, geometry and astronomy, creative writing and the sky, bird and animal migration using the stars, classical words from mythology and the constellations, and astronomy and art. A popular program for elementary classes has been Following the Drinking Gourd, in which students use the sky to reenact escaping from southern latitudes to the north. In summers, she has been part of the District Link program, giving a series of topical programs and preparing related coordinating activities for the 4 different levels of enrolled students. In past years, students worked with her to design their own planetarium programs for families. Dr. Bishop was very active in numerous professional organizations. She was the president and first woman of the International Planetarium Society. She was also president of the Great Lakes Planetarium Society and the Cleveland Astronomical Society. She has served on a number of national teacher committees for NASA, educational outreach, and was faculty advisor for the NASA summer teacher programs at NASA Glenn. Dr. Bishop has traveled internationally to Brazil, Mexico, and Italy to present classes on teaching in the planetarium. She has authored over 100 published articles, given conference workshops and papers, and reviewed science books for the high school science teacher publication, Science Teacher. Dr. Bishop has been the recipient of a number of awards, a finalist in the Ohio Math and Science Teacher of the Year, the Martha Holden Jennings Master Teacher Award that allowed her a year away from the classroom studying astronomy concepts and pursuing her PhD, the National Tandy Technology Award, 2 first-place teacher awards in different years from the National Science Teachers Association for projects with students called the Starr and Gustav Ohaus Awards, and recipient of the Thomas Brennan Award for high school astronomy teaching by the Astronomical Society of the Pacific. Dr. Bishop wanted to recognize her husband, Alan, who passed away in 2006. Alan was the wind beneath her wings, always supporting and helping with her work. He served as an unpaid technician at the Westlake Planetarium and was a huge part in Dr. Bishop's professional life. Dr. Bishop also has a son, Eric, who lives in Boston with his family. As you have heard, Dr. Bishop has had an amazing career. With that, please welcome our next Hall of Fame inductee, Dr. John Bishop.
I'm short. It's indeed a great honor to be here tonight among so many people who have been recognized for different achievements, and I just feel very grateful to be selected, and I feel grateful to have had the career with the team of people of this community and the schools that I have had. Thank you so much for the introductions, Michelle and Del. I really appreciate that. I would like to just acknowledge some of the categories of people that I have learned from, worked with, and been inspired by. And it includes superintendents, including Dr. Dan Keenan, who is here this evening. He was one of our very important superintendents. People of the community, like Mr. Andrew Mangles. I gave you a doctorate there. Okay. People who work in the offices, the secretaries. Beth Hollick, I think, is here tonight, and I've enjoyed working with her. Where's Beth? The custodial staff through the years, and I'm delighted that Jill Meinert is here this evening, sitting beside me. She has helped me. She has helped me all this summer move things from the planetarium that was at Parkside over to an office at the high school. I don't know how many of you know it, but the planetarium is in a building that was condemned due to mold. And the building belongs to the city. It's their problem, but but the wonderful things that I have worked with and use in teaching, I have been able to get out because of Jill and another person who has been so great, so wonderful to organize and help me. So anyway, I'm raring to go to do more planetarium work if possible, if we can get some organization with the base center. They're working on that, so we can serve Westlake students. I also would like to thank the parents of this community who many times have come forward and not just at family evening programs in the planetarium, but have come forward and supported me with the planetarium. There was a time when the planetarium was about to close, and I could not believe the parents that came forward to say, we want this, and we need this, and please keep it open. And of course, the teachers, my colleagues, the teachers and aides who have been so supportive through the years, and I've had the pleasure of working with and being part of that team. And then also, lastly, the students. I have such a great regard for the students that I've been able to serve. They have taught me. I teach them, but they have taught me and inspired me. And it's like a cycle. I teach them, they teach me, I know more, I can teach better. And because of that, then I can go forward and do more for the schools, for the classes, for the planetarium where I'm at. I have had such wonderful experiences through the years with things that are in different areas, wearing different types of hats. And one of them has been the Science Olympiad. Michelle, where is Michelle? She went back to her seat. Oh, I applaud you at being the president of your team, your leader of your Science Olympiad team. I had so much fun with Science Olympiad. I established it at Westlake High School, and with my husband and with parents and another teacher, Carol Fisher, I had the fun, the enjoyment, as well as the feeling of doing something good to develop that team and make it a part of our school. For 7 years we did that. Oftentimes we do it at our home. 3 nights a week at our home we had kids, and I'd be at the planetarium. Maybe somebody would tell me that it was time to leave because there's another group waiting at my home. So we really worked hard, and with parents also we were able to go forward and have a good Science Olympiad team for 7 years. I am very grateful to learn about ways that I've been able to help others. Tonight, I was so happy to have people step forward. Dana Hartup, is he here? Go back here. Okay. A former student of mine who came forward, just as Dell was a former student, and in science class, honors physical science class, I guess I was able to impart a few things that lasted, right? And I am so grateful that science projects had some impact. That's very good to know. I am very happy to know that in teaching different kinds of courses, students let me know that it has helped them in their lives. I have taught astronomy and geology, honors physical science and regular physical science, and physics and chemistry and natural history and math. And so through the years, with my comprehensive science and math degree that came out of my undergraduate studies, I've had the fun of relearning many concepts that I've been able to teach others. And when they come back and let me know that it's been helpful, it's been wonderful. I think that I would like to just conclude by saying that there is a statement, other than the one that Del shared with you, that I think is true for me. And that expression is, I touch the future. You know who said that? Krista McAuliffe. You remember? Mm-hmm. I touch the future. And I feel the same way. If my efforts can help students learn, if they can know more and be inspired, that means that they probably will pass that on. And if they pass that on, that touches the future. And now, me, in my life, I say, that's wonderful, and I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bishop. Thank you, Del. Thank you, Michelle. Dr. Bishop's what makes Westlake special. It really is. So I appreciate those comments. I'll call on Jeff Chase and Bashir to come up. And while they're coming up, I just want to let everyone know, Westlake High School and their Hall of Fame is different. It's not just athletics. There's 3 categories: athletic, there's honorary for people that are not Westlake graduates, that are more teachers and coaches, and then there's a distinguished alumni. You have to be a Westlake grad, but you don't have to be an athlete or someone that accomplished something in high school, but it's more what happens in your career after you leave Westlake High School. So Dr. Bishop was an honorary inductee, and again, congratulations. So Jeff Chase and Bashir, here you go.
As Jim said, I'm Jeff Chase from the great class of 1965. I'm extremely honored to introduce our next student, who in turn will submit the name of Frank Sarna to our Hall of Fame. I had the pleasure of coaching Frank while here at Westlake. Frank was an exceptional young man, talented in many ways, and a wonderful example of the Hall of Fame qualities. I'm quite sure our next student speaker is on that path to be in the Westlake Hall of Fame. Bashir Al-Rahmani is currently the leading scorer on the Demon soccer team, a kicker for the football team, and last season Bashir was All-Ohio in track and field. In my opinion, there's no better choice to introduce the name of Frank Sarna to the Westlake Hall of Fame. Bashir?
Our next inductee, Frank J. Sarno III, epitomizes what the Westlake Hall of Fame is all about. There is no greater measure of a person than one who will lay down his life for another. Frank did that on January 28, 1980. The Westlake Hall of Fame has 2 categories that can be considered for graduates of Westlake High School. Athletic, for great achievement during your high school career, and then distinguished, to honor those individuals who go on to contribute to our society and make the world a better place. Frank is being inducted as a distinguished alumni. However, he has the credentials as both an athlete and a person who made the world a better place by his presence. Frank graduated in June 1975. During his time at Westlake, Frank was an outstanding student. He took his studies seriously because he knew that was going to be the building block for his next step in life. Frank was also tremendous in track at Westlake. At the time of his graduation, Frank held both the 120 and 300 hurdle records and was a part of the shuttle hurdle relay record-holding team. Frank was also part of the record-holding 880-yard relay team and the medley relay team. That is 5 school records that he held, or was part of when he graduated in 1975. Truly amazing. Frank then went on to the Coast Guard Academy and graduated in 1979. Ensign Frank Sarna was serving his country faithfully when his ship collided with an oil tanker in the Tampa Bay. As the sign says, which is affixed to the Frank J. Sarnon III Patrol Boat Building and Fitness Center located on the Coast Guard Academy campus, Ensign Sarno was seen on the surface of the water, safe and out of harm's way. However, without regard for his own regard, he selflessly made repeated dives below the water in an attempt to assist and free trapped crew members. Ensign Sarna refused to quit on his shipmates. For those of us in this room who knew Frank, that is not surprising. For the past 40 years, the Sarna family has remembered Frank and Westlake High School through scholarships that are given each year to 2 deserving Westlake seniors who display Frank's qualities of scholastic achievement, athletic excellence, personal character, and outstanding leadership. That is an amazing statement about Frank's legacy at Westlake High School. Those students should feel privileged to receive such a scholarship. It is with immense pride that we induct Frank Sarna as the newest member of the Dover Westlake Hall of Fame.
Hi, my name is Katie Sarna Hyatt. I'm Frank's youngest sister, and on behalf of the Sarna family, who almost all of us are here, so I'd just like to call out my mom, Pat, my brother Mike, and his wife, LaDonna, my brother Mark and Steve, and my sister Jean, along with some extended family, my 3 uncles, Chuck, John, and Bob, and my cousin Kristen. We wanted to, did I get everybody? And my cousin Steve. Okay, like to thank, we had 7 kids, so bear with us. I'd like to thank you and accept this award in my brother's honor. Growing up in Westlake played a huge part in shaping the person that Frank was. He was greatly involved in the community through Boy Scouts. He forged deep friendships through school, sports, and at St. Bernadette's, and was a loved and loving son, brother, cousin, nephew, and grandson. You all just heard his bio from Bashir, but I wanted to give a little background to the quote that we chose for his plaque, "I got you." In the summer of 1973, we were at a family reunion in Michigan and took a day trip to Lake Michigan. Frank was about 16 and had just earned his life-saving badge at Scout Camp, where Jim Given and Lloyd Trunk were his scout leaders. A bunch of the family were swimming in the lake, and the undertow started getting really bad. Those in the water were struggling, and the adults started to shuttle the younger kids into shore. And my Uncle Bob, after a while, we noticed that he was getting fatigued and taken farther and farther out. After everyone started yelling that he was in trouble, Frank didn't hesitate to jump in the water and swim out to Uncle Bob. By this time, Bob kept slipping under the water, but he heard Frank yelling that he was coming. When Frank reached Bob, he grabbed him under the arms in a life-saving hold and said, "I got you, Uncle Bob. I got you." And he just kept repeating those words as Bob struggled against him. Frank safely returned Bob to shore, where the lifeguards then took over. So if you knew Frank, you're probably nodding, saying, "Yeah, that makes sense." I could see Frank saying that and being that guy. We also like to think that he would have conveyed that same message to his shipmates on the Blackthorn. And as we go forward from this evening, we could all say this phrase to offer help or encouragement to a friend or family member, coworker, or stranger who might be struggling. "I got you." Thank you all for honoring and remembering Frank in this way.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Bashir. And thank you, Katie. On a personal note, I grew up with the Sarno family. I knew Frank personally, played a lot of sports with Frank, and tonight is such an honor on my behalf to be here and celebrate it with you guys. I really mean it. Frank means a lot, so thanks. Okay, moving on, I'd like to call on Amy Stanton and Lily to introduce our next inductee, Bonnie Bauer Morris. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Amy Stanton, and I'm here both as a Westlake alumni member as well as a friend of Bonnie Bauer. She and I have been friends for as long as I can remember and ultimately graduated together in 1995. She is truly deserving of this honor as her athletic accomplishments speak for themselves. She is a tremendous mother, daughter, sister, teacher, and friend. She exemplifies everything about this award, and I could not be more proud of Bonnie or more proud to call her my friend. Congratulations on all of your accomplishments, Bonnie. You deserve them all. It's now my pleasure to introduce Lily Voiglis, who is our current starting goalie for Westlake Girls Soccer. Most unfortunately, Lily and I were having trouble connecting this week, but as Tony mentioned earlier, she is one of Westlake's best and brightest. Here to introduce Bonnie Bauer. Thank you.
Bonnie Bauer Morris is a 1995 graduate. She earned 10 varsity letters during her athletic career at Westlake High School, including lettering as a freshman in soccer and basketball. Bonnie was all-conference in soccer both her sophomore and junior year. She was unable to play her senior year due to ACL reconstruction surgery. She was selected in soccer for the All-Greater Cleveland in her junior year. In addition, Bonnie was all-conference 3 times in basketball, her sophomore, junior, and senior years. She was selected for the All-Greater Cleveland team, this time in basketball after her senior year. Bonnie is currently the record holder for the highest percentage in free throw percentage. In track, Bonnie was the Green Shoe Award winner in her freshman year. In Bonnie's senior year, 1995, she completed her outstanding academic and athletic career by receiving the Semper Fi Distinguished Athlete Award, which is awarded by the Marine Corps. Bonnie was awarded an athletic scholarship for soccer to Francis Marion University. During Bonnie's college career, Francis Marion was ranked in the top 10 in women's Division II soccer. She was MVP of FMU her sophomore year and honorable mention all-conference. Bonnie has also continued her involvement in athletics as a coach at Lake Ridge Academy in both basketball and field hockey. She also coached soccer at Medina High School. And finally, we need to mention with our country just celebrating the 20th anniversary of 9/11. Bonnie enlisted after 9/11 with the Department of Defense and spent 6 years on the military orders at American and international bases overseas, teaching and testing students with disabilities. Bonnie is a special education high school teacher for over 20 years and volunteers as a Special Olympic field assistant yearly. Her best accomplishment is being the proud mother of Jack and Maggie Morris. With no further ado, we want to introduce our next member of the Westlake Dover Hall of Fame, Bonnie Bauer Morris.
All right, good evening. I first want to thank everyone that spent time on the events for tonight. It's an honor to be here. I'm blessed to have come across many prolific educators and coaches at my time at Westlake. Coincidentally, I share this evening with my former middle school principal, which takes me back to my days at Parkside, where I had some amazing coaches, Mr. Bowles and Mr. Curtis. Ed Curtis actually kickstarted my career. He contacted me after I graduated from college to coach with him at a local high school, Lake Ridge. After my time at Parkside, my career continued on to Westlake High School, where I was privileged to have played with many wonderful athletes. In my freshman year, I played varsity with some of the best soccer players that had walked through the doors of WHS. That was the most challenging soccer season in my career. We played over 19 games that season. I had the job of marking 5 All-State players and 2 All-American players by the end of the year. By the end of that season, I knew that being on the soccer field was where I belonged. Soccer season rolled into basketball season, and it was the 90s, and I think it goes without saying that when you think of the Westlake girls basketball team in the 90s, it's pretty synonymous with the Anthony sisters. For me, I played with all 3. They were like bookends. I started with one and ended with another. It was definitely better to have them on your team than against in life and on the court. Coach Kincannon had this great idea to ease me into varsity. I remembered freshman year, it was tournament time, we were playing Amherst, and they had this girl who had every accolade imaginable, Division I scholarships for basketball and volleyball. It was 4th quarter and we started to lose steam. We were down by 2. I was sitting at the end of the bench, seeing how many pieces of gum I could pop in my mouth, and I heard Coach Kincannon call my name and he said, "You're going in and you have one job, beat the press and get the ball down the court." I got the ball down the court, and I looked over at him to call the play. And he calls this play where everyone clears out and I have to drive and shoot. And I remember looking at him, thinking, this is not what you asked me to do. So I run the play, I drive to the basket, and the next thing I remember is having the Anthony sisters help me up. I literally had bounced off the girl, the back of the wall where the padding is, and was like hit the ground. Little did I know I'd made the basket and now had a free throw to shoot. All I could hear was Mrs. Anthony and my mother screaming for me to get up, and those are 2 women you definitely do not want to disappoint. Fast forward to senior year, I tore my ACL, as you heard, and it was the very first soccer game of the season. It was so disappointing. I had surgery early September and just happened to know someone in the guidance department, that would be my mother, she was a guidance counselor, who hooked me up with a school schedule that allowed me to do physical therapy in the morning and afternoon. All I wanted was to play one basketball game my senior year. The culmination of 4 years seemed irrelevant, I could barely run, but wanted so badly to have the opportunity to play. I made it back on the court for the end of my senior season. We ended the season in tournament time with me on the foul line. Ironically, at the time, again, as you heard, I held the record for the best free throw in Westlake history. I missed. And of course, I felt awful about it, tears rolling down my face, and Coach Kincannon walked over to me and calmly said, "You won. You rehabbed, you have a soccer scholarship, you played some games your senior year, you won, Bonnie." I know that I probably wasn't the best player to have out on the court that night, and it certainly was the last player he wanted at the free throw line. But bigger life lessons were taught to me at that moment. As a coach, I always reflect on that moment and realize it's not always about the win. I often remember stories like these and where I came from in tough situations. Situations like moving overseas after 9/11, or learning to run again after being in a wheelchair for 6 months. Or ironically, when I'm delivering my second child and things get a little dicey, my mother starts instructing me in the delivery room on what to do, and the doctor immediately turns around and says, "Did you teach at Westlake High School?" And recognizes my mother as her health and sex ed teacher from Westlake High School. Then she looks at me and says, "I remember you. You got this." Honestly, this school system has produced many amazing, productive adults, and that all comes back to the people in this room. In conclusion, I am so grateful for the many teachers and coaches who have set examples for me to follow. I can't imagine what it would be if we added the number of years of teaching and coaching in this room alone. I am grateful for the handful of teammates I still keep in touch with, who I call lifelong friends, and although time goes by, I know we are still bonded. I'm grateful for a best friend of 30 plus years that I get to share this evening with, and whose children I now hand down the torch, and they better light it up at Westlake High School. And to new friends that have helped me maneuver through some tough times these past years. I'm incredibly grateful to my family, my parents, and my brother. The sheer number of hours spent at the games and practices was impossible to count. I apologize for the many speeding tickets acquired on your weekend drives to watch me play soccer in college, just to watch a game, grab a quick hug, turn around and go back home. The nights where you iced injuries, slept on the floor after surgeries, and washed some incredibly smelly uniforms, socks, and shoes. The games where it was freezing and raining and the weather just didn't stop, but you stayed. I'm truly blessed that you chose this community to raise us in. Lastly, to my two greatest accomplishments of my life, my Jack and Maggie, I've enjoyed coaching so many of your teams, although I know the feeling is not reciprocated. I love watching you both forge your own path. I'm excited to see what the future holds, and to all the people I mentioned tonight, I share this award with. I could not be standing here if it wasn't for you. Mary Lou Retton said it best, a trophy carries dust, but memories last forever.
Great job, Amy. Great job, Bonnie. Thank you, Lily, for that introduction. It's been really nice on the students. It really has. So thank you, students, for doing this tonight. It's been really nice, and thanks, Tony, for the thought. But that's been really nice. Our next inductee, I'm going to call on Mike Antonishin and Mackie Keenan to introduce Coach Long.
Good evening. Mike Antonishin, class of 1968. Welcome to tonight's banquet for the Westlake Hall of Fame, Dover Hall of Fame. This is a super turnout. Thank you for all coming. I hope you're enjoying yourselves. It's been a great night. I'd like to congratulate Vern Long in getting inducted into the Westlake Dover Hall of Fame. Vern and I started teaching back in, I had to correct this, I put 84, but that was wrong, Vern, it was 74. It's been a long time, Vern. But you know what? It's just been great memories, man. And that's what this is all about. The memories of all these kids and all the people that have talked tonight. These memories you can't take away. So Vern I'd like to introduce Mackie Keenan. He's going to do a little talk on Vern, but Mackie is a senior quarterback, linebacker, and a wrestler for the Westlake Demons. Along with being an athlete, he's a super student and just a great kid to have to coach. I've had the fortune that I'm coaching with him. And Mackie, you're going to give a short bio on Vern Long, or bio on Vern Long. And Mackie, this is your show, so enjoy, bud.
Good evening. Our next in...
You gotta get closer, bud. You're so tall, you know.
Yeah.
Short guys get it.
Our next inductee is part of the 2020 induction class, the winningest football coach in Westlake football history, Coach Vern Long. In his 27 seasons at Westlake High School, Coach Long's team compiled a record of 149, 119, and 6 record. His coaching career spanned from the fall of 1974 through the fall of 2000. In that time, he led 4 different Westlake High School football teams to the Southwest Conference Championships. 3 of Coach Long's Westlake teams qualified for the Ohio State football playoffs, including the state semifinal appearance against Steubenville in 1984. Prior to his great success at Westlake, Coach Long won 2 Inland Conference Championships at Firelands. During his 3 years at the helm of Firelands, his team went 24-6. In addition to the team accomplishments mentioned, Coach Long earned numerous coaching accolades, including the ultimate in 2003 when he was inducted into the Ohio High School Football Coaches Hall of Fame. His plaque is forever placed in the rotunda as you enter the Ohio State Horseshoe Football Stadium. Other notable, well-earned recognitions include being inducted into the Lorain County Football Coaches Hall of Fame, recognition as the SWC Coach of the Year 4 separate times, honored as the Associated Press Ohio Coach of the Year for Division II in 1988. In that same year, he was the recipient of the Ohio High School Football Coaches Association President Award. He was the first coach to be honored as a recipient of the Ohio Football Coaches Sportsmanship Ethics and Integrity Award in 1996. And in 1998, Coach Long received the Bob Hersman Westlake Coach of the Year Award. Coach Long also served his fellow coaches at the District 3 football representative for numerous years and as the head coach for numerous high school football all-star games. Coach Long's family includes his tremendous coaching wife, Jean, and his 3 children, Chris, David, and Susan. It is my tremendous pleasure to introduce Coach Vernon Long, member of the Westlake Dover Hall of Fame.
Well, thank you for that. Those my magnificent introductions. You know, it's been a long career, but I was glad that I spent most of it here. But I want to thank the committee first, because what they have done with this to grow this activity and to make it a first-class affair like this is really a tribute to them. So I think we ought to give them a round of applause. And one other personal note, I'm glad that tonight we honored Frank Sarna. Frank was the first split end I had here. He was our starting split end and a great kid and one of the hardest workers we had, and everything that was said about him, I guarantee is true. He was a quality young man, and it was just a shame that we lost him at such an early age. But he was a great competitor, but more than that, he was just a great person. So I'm glad that he is getting the recognition tonight that he so greatly deserves. Tonight I'm lucky to have some of my family members here. My sister, older sister, I have to say. No, I know, but and she took care of me a lot when I was younger, and I really appreciate everything she's done. Been a great supporter all these years, and a couple of our sons are here. Both them, David and Chris, our sons are here, and my daughter Susan is also here, and they're Susan's husband Jeff, and of course, where's the other one here? Where are we at? Yeah, one of my, Pat's children, Christine, is here, and they've always been supporters. And my first job out of college was at Chardon, and if you ever been to Chardon in the '70s, there wasn't a whole lot of places to go eat and do things, and so I spent a lot of time eating meals over at Pat's because there was no place you could get a hamburger even. Particularly after dark. And now that place has really grown now, but at that time, it was a nice town, very nice town, but it was not great if you were a single guy right out of college. But so I spent a lot of time at Pat's over there, and she was very gracious, and I guarantee you she helped. When I grew up, she took care of me a lot. So that's good. I'm glad she's here tonight. And the other thing is that, sometimes we have unsung heroes in sports. And I think right now we have to say our wives as coaches. We start the season after having summer and then fitness and clinics and winter weight programs. So, they carry a picture sometimes of us so that they know who it is walking in the door. And I've been blessed. I've been blessed in my life because my wife, Jean, has been there all along. We've been married over 50 years, and she put up with all the late meals like all the coaches' wives did, and the family activities we missed, and some of the things that people don't really see. But unfortunately, Jean is not here tonight. She is suffering from Alzheimer's, and so she is at home tonight. And one of our coaches' wives, Dave Newman's wife, is staying with her tonight, so that there'll be somebody with her. But the time that we have with our players is so good, and so much. There's so much dedication by the assistant coaches that were in the program. We had a program that really grew, and the coaches were fantastic. And at this time, I'd like all the coaches who were in our program to stand up, whatever level. Coaching football is kind of a strange thing. It's really like crisis management, because you don't know what's going to happen when you walk into school. Who's sick? Who was in a car wreck that night and won't play? Who's on detention? Whatever. So you walk in there, you have to adjust. And if you don't have loyal people like I had, you're not gonna survive very long, because you need their support and their help, and they will be your conduit to the players a lot of times. They will know what's going on in the classes, and they know if somebody has a problem, and then we can get them in and talk with them and that sort of thing. So I owe an awful lot to those guys, and as the program grew, it became even more important to have them. And it's like anything else. You have to have the support of people like your family and your coaches. As far as the wives go, if anybody knows Milan Vulicich, Milan was a long-time college assistant who was a friend of our program. And one time I was at a clinic with him. He said, "Well, Vern, we're only going to coach as long as our wives will let us." And he was true. That was true. And that's the case of all these assistants. What the wives did to allow them to be in the program and move up in the profession and to accept more responsibility or whatever. But to have a successful program, you have to have good people. And tonight, the good thing tonight is that I got to renew my relationships with so many of the great people that I had the opportunity to coach on the field, and his assistants and the administrators. That is what it's all about here as you get older in this game, and it's really something to have a fortunate time like this. And this is a great event that again goes back to what the committee has done to get it going again. And we had great coaches, and they stayed with it, and it wasn't always easy. We always got complaints, and everybody in coaching gets complaints, and you get people who are not real happy. As the old saying goes, parents they love competition, but not at their son's position, and that is very true. And so but our parents were great here. For the most part, we had some of the most supportive people that we could have had, and that goes for our administrators too. I was very fortunate when I came here. Dr. Roger Holmes was the superintendent that hired me, and there's nobody who I have more respect for than Roger Holmes. He was a straight shooter, and he knew the community. And he and George Reich, who was the principal, and Louis Duche, Remember Louis was the athletic director? Yes. And they came out to my previous school out at Firelands, and they spent a day talking to administrators, to kids in the classes and the custodians, and they were extremely thorough, and I didn't know what was being said, but they did a tremendous job, and I've always appreciated the confidence that they had in me, and we don't always admire or say how much we appreciate what happens. George Reese retired, and he was very, very good with us in the program, and we got Dave Menick to come in for the next 16 years, and he was very good to work with, and he understood what was needed for programs to be successful, and I owe a great debt to him also, and of course the athletic director. Louis was a great athletic director. He was toward the end of his tenure. Louis was a lovable guy who he would give you the shirt off his back, and he retired. Then we got Bob Hersman, who came in from Elyria, and Bob had been a football coach, basketball coach, everything, very successful, and he was very dedicated to improving the programs. And he worked with us, and he was a real asset to the school district. And unfortunately, cancer got him. And then we got Ken Krepop came in and took over, which was a hard thing to do because Bob was very popular. And Ken, I think people don't appreciate all that he did. We always say, well, how much, what's it going to cost to do this or that? And, there's only a finite amount of money. But Kenny, if you noticed, if you were ever in the high school at that time, after school, he and his secretary and stuff, they were out in the hall selling candy bars. They were selling all sorts, and trying to make money so that he could give the kids that were playing the kind of equipment and uniforms and things that they needed and they wanted. And Ken, he was there every day, every night. And, he was tremendous because he wanted to make sure the kids had a great experience, no matter what sport it was. And he was a tremendous guy. And he coached with us for many years. And he was an excellent, excellent coach. And he was a baseball coach, and they had great teams there. And so I'm very indebted to Ken. Coaching is teaching, and those coaches had to teach. You had to teach on the field. It's not just a guy running around yelling with a whistle hanging around his neck. You got to teach. And if you don't, you're not going to win. And you're not going to have your kids playing safely. And so we were very fortunate to have great coaches there. And our middle school coaches bought into the programs. And we really, I think, our numbers shot up. When I came here, my first team we had 61 kids. And 19 of them were sophomores, is all. And by the time we got to the point where we were in the playoffs, we gave out 114 suits. And our ADs like that, Ken, he made, those guys made sure that all kids were equipped with the best possible equipment. So our program, really developed, I think, and the kids bought into it, and we played four schedules. We played the varsity on Friday night. We played the JVs, which were basically sophomore teams, on Saturday morning. And then our freshmen played on Thursdays. But we had a lot of kids in the program, and you can't just have them standing around. So we organized a reserve team. So the people who didn't play on Friday, but yet they weren't sophomores to play with them, they played people on Monday, and we scheduled games. And we were fortunate that we had a lot of kids who wanted to be managers, trainers, stats girls, and all that. And they would come out and they would work on the sidelines on those games. So we had a tremendous number of kids involved in the ball games, and this is why the program grew. And of course, we started making the playoffs, and at that time, to make the playoffs, first it was one team in each region, then they went to two, and the state association was they didn't want to go beyond that. They thought it'd be mismatches. And I personally represented the athletic association, our football coaches association, and gave the talk to the board of governors down there in Columbus, and the athletic association, and told them about we've researched this, we should get to 8, and it'd be safe. They said, oh, people will just massacre that 8th team. And then they also said, no city team's ever going to make the playoffs. No Senate team. That was before Glenville and people like that, and of course, that all proved. They finally gave it to us, and then at our last the meeting we had our clinic, Claire Mascaro, head of it, got up and said, well, I want to thank you guys because it worked and we were wrong, and we made more money this year than we ever have. So they thought that was a great idea. So I was pleased by that. But tonight, for me, seeing all the players that I've seen here tonight, it was like a huge reunion, and it brought back a lot of memories. And we had a lot of good people in the program. I think the community can be proud of the way our players represented them. Our kids played hard, they played fair, and they worked hard to get where they were, and so I give all of them credit to be here, and I appreciate them coming back because they're scattered all over. They've been successful in so many areas. So at this time, anybody that played for us, would you please stand up and be recognized? All you players, stand up. We had good coaches, we had good players, we had good administrators that supported us at that time. We couldn't have done that without that. We went through all sorts of things. There's always problems. Nothing is simple in athletics. There's always a problem. When you go in and take out the hazardous material in the school, and they do it in the summer, guess where you are? You're sitting in the cafeteria, the teacher's cafeteria, with all these guys running around with the suits on. But we didn't have suits. And you have to, it was, the kids were lockering in the halls and showering in the art room. And they persisted the whole time, and we got through it and played the schedule and had a good year. And I always thought, they were tremendous people to stay with it. And I respect all the guys that played because I know how hard the game is. But the reason why we had success and that I survived for 27 years in this game, which is a hard game to stay in. It really is. There's a lot of changes in coaches in a lot of places every year. But, I think there's a real good book that was written by Woody Hayes years ago. Not about X and O's, not about defenses, strategy, or anything. The title of it was You Win with People. And that's what we did. We had good people that were playing. We had good people that were administrating. We had good people that were cheering us on in the stands. And, even though a lot of them did yell things like, 32 Chuck again, and I always, when they said that, I always said, well, we run other place, 31 Chuck over here, and and then we'd have always people that would yell things that were obviously they had hit the 6-pack before they got there, And but those guys, I could always tell because at the end of the game, remember Reed Field, we had to walk through the parking lot to get to the locker room of the buses. And the same guy who was yelling up there was out looking for where he parked his car. So we had some people that did that. But overall, the support we got from the parents, from the administrators, and we had a lot of great kids. They're all here tonight. And we had great players. Now, not always as many as somebody else. You know, Avon Lake was pretty good, and some of those teams, and we had to figure out how to beat them. And but our kids played hard, they practiced hard, they lifted weights in the weight room, and we got that improved during like when Ken was athletic director. We got that all that equipment put in there, and really made a big difference. And so we were fortunate. I was here at a good time. You know, timing is everything in coaching, I guess. But I was here at a good time when we had good coaches, and we built the program because we had administrators who wanted us to be successful, and we had coaches who were willing to do whatever was possible to win, and we had players who loved the game, practiced hard, and stuck together. It wasn't always pretty, but we stuck together. And I'm so proud of the guys that played for us. They're all here, and that's been the highlight of the night for me, to see these people again, because they've all been successful somewhere doing something. So again, I want to thank everybody and for selecting me for this. It's you know, I've been in other Hall of Fames and things, and you know, coach long enough, and they pick somebody. But you know, but this is important because it's where our home was, our family. We've been here and stayed here, and we're still here, and you know, so I really feel that, you know, the what we build here is continuing on with all the people that have gone out and been successful, and so I want to thank everybody that had anything to do with us being successful. And thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Mackie. Appreciate everybody. And we're now going to move on to the introduction for Lisa Shooty Downing. That's going to be handled by our Megan and Corinne Wilson. If they'd come up to introduce Lisa, that'd be great. Thank you.
We'll give you guys a minute, but keep it down over there, please. I got the mic. Thank you. A couple of things first. As the Alumni Coordinator, the most fun tonight is being able to see everyone coming back, but then having our children, our student athletes, our young adults come in tonight and present, and the students that were picked are all ones that will most likely bubble to the top at some point in our alumni selection for the Hall of Fame. These kids are all outstanding kids. Many of you heard. One other thing about the soccer team, because I'm a soccer player, is that Lily is on the hunt for a big shutout record. So she's the goalkeeper, and my daughter's her defender. They're 7-1 right now, so we're very excited. Wait, I forgot my notes that are in my phone, so hold on one second. And the football team's really loud over there. But also, I mean, these kids are outstanding, and I love being in the building and being able to see these kids, and I know what being in high school was for me. I know I wasn't a high academic kid, but I was a kid that liked to participate and be a part of things, and with Dr. Bishop being, I wasn't in her honors classes for sure, but I definitely knew she was around the corner, and she was very helpful. Coach Long was always appreciative to have you guys around, have anyone around, especially when you were his mascot for a couple of years. I was the mascot, so go Demons. Let me get my notes here so I can not forget anything. And then, so I get to introduce to you, it's like I feel like I'm in a bookend right now because I know both girls. Corinne, our current student, and Lisa. What everyone doesn't know is that you're going to hear all the great things about Lisa, but I went to States too, but no one remembers that. But that's because of our great administration and our athletic director and her parents. They helped, I was her cheerleading squad, me and Nancy Nagel. We got to go be with her and cheer her on at States, and it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with Lisa on swim team. It just was the highlight of my year. I wasn't a super athletic, but I did let her all 4 years, so that was good. We had so much fun on swim team. Things that come to mind about Lisa, her infectious laugh. I mean, her laugh is one of the best laughs. You know, when she's laughing, we're all having a good time. Windmill. People probably don't think, like, what's a windmill have to do with swimming? But if you ever watched Lisa swim, it was just like she glided through the water like a windmill. Her arms were just going through, and it was just amazing. And you knew when that she was swimming, she's like, oh, Lisa's swimming great. Here's a number 1 placement. Here's a first place. Here's a second place. But she wasn't ostentatious about it. She was very humble, and she was a lot of fun, and she encouraged a lot of young swimmers to continue to do what they love to do, and she made me want to be a better swimmer. So anything that I could do to be like Lisa, I tried to do. My hair isn't as curly as hers, but we had some fun times trying to get ready for school. But Corinne's really going to tell you all about Lisa and her amazing accomplishments. And one thing when her and I chatted, or we saw each other in the hallways, and she's like, wait, Downing? Doesn't she have a daughter named Alex? She's like number 1 in our conference, or she's like really good swimmer. So the genes are right there, Lisa. So with that, let me tell you about this awesome girl. Corinne came into our district middle of 7th grade, and just super fun. Same kind of laugh, same kind of smile. Everyone wants to be around Corinne. She is a member of the swim team, yes. She's also on the lacrosse team. She is loves music. So let's see. The swim team, the lacrosse team, she's the drama club president. She's the chorale president. She's the women's ensemble secretary. She's a part of Company D. She loves to sing, play the piano. She's in Key Club, NHS, and she's in National Latin Honor Society. And she's just an all-around great girl, and she is on the homecoming court. She's one of 3 to become queen tomorrow night, so who knows, maybe the votes are in for her. Hopefully you'll get to see her crowned tomorrow night, but I would like to introduce Corinne Wilson.
It is my distinct pleasure to introduce Lisa Shooty Downing, one of our 2021 inductees. Westlake High School has had only 4 individual state champions ever, and tonight we have the great opportunity to induct one of those former state champions into the Westlake Hall of Fame. Lisa graduated from Westlake High School in 1992 and was a 4-year letter winner in swimming. Freshman year, she was 14th in the 200 free and 9th in the 100 fly, and had high school honorable mention All-American. Sophomore year at state, she was 3rd in the 200 free and 4th in the 100 fly, again high school All-American. Junior year at state, 2nd in the 200 free and 6th in the 100 fly, yet again high school All-American. And senior year at state, 1st in the 200 free and 2nd in the 500 free. And for the final year, high school All-American. Lisa set the SWC conference record in the 100 fly that still remains today. At the time of her graduation, Lisa had 4 individual conference records and 2 relay records. She was invited to compete in a high school meet that featured the top 6 high school seniors in each event in the country. Even cooler was that Lisa was invited as part of the top 30 females and athletes in the country for her age group
train at the Olympic Center in Colorado Springs for a week and train as part of the National Select Camp. In addition, she was a great leader and teammate. She was swim team captain both her junior and senior year, and the Westlake swim team had won 8 consecutive conference championships when she graduated in 1992. That is being part of a dynasty. Lisa continued to represent Westlake High School at a high level during her college career at Ohio University. The team won 3 Mid-American Conference championships. She was an 11-time individual and relay MAC champion. Junior year at Mid-American Conference, first in the 200 free, and set a new Mid-American Conference record. Senior year at Mid-American Conference, she was first in the 200 free, which lowered her own conference record. Second in the 500 free, first in the 400 medley relay, and first in the 400 free relay. As in high school, she was team captain in both her junior and senior years. She was the 1996 Ohio University Female Athlete of the Year. Lisa also excelled in the classroom as she was awarded an Alumni Scholar Athlete Award and MAC Presidential Award while attending Ohio University. Lisa has now returned to the area and lives in Avon with her husband Matt and 3 children. With that, it is our extreme pleasure to welcome the new next honoree in the Westlake Hall of Fame, Lisa Shooty Downing.
All right, as many of those who know me, standing in front of a crowd talking about myself is not high on my list of things to do. Right. Instead, still to this day, I'm known for working hard in practice, doing anything that's needed in order to get the job done. During my swimming career, I was a swimmer who rarely missed practice and worked as hard as I could at every single one. But I'll step out of those shoes today that I'm normally in and talk a little swimming and give thanks to the many people who helped me get to where I am today. For those of you who knew me when I swam and saw the accomplishments I had, they appeared to be a successful athletic career. However, I hope that I'm known for more than that. I hope that I left an impression that hard work can bring results, that sacrificing time with friends to practice can pay off, and that I was known for getting to know everyone and support everyone on my team, and that placing highly at meets didn't mean I was any less approachable. I hope I was known for congratulating someone for their accomplishments as people did for me. I hope that I made being a muscular girl a little bit cool. Yeah. When we moved to Cleveland when I was 10, I started on a swim club where I swam for my coach, Todd Urban, for the next 8 years. Coincidentally, I just found out today that my coach, Todd Urban, was the first high school swimmer for Westlake High School to ever make it to the state meet. So he took me from a relative beginner to competing at the national level. And I learned that he was the first state qualifier. When I started high school, I began swimming for Bob Babiak and Don Caesar. High school swimming was the first time that I got to experience a team sport. In club swimming, there might be times where team scores are kept, but not many people pay attention to that. It's really an individual sport. However, at high school, I got my first experience at trying to win a meet as a team and loved it. Cheering at the end of someone's lane, not just because they are your friend and you want them to do well, but also because your team's success depends on how they do. Winning the conference meet all 4 years was always such fun with such a great group of swimmers and divers. And I'll never forget the excitement of us all trying to fit on the podium to take a picture with the trophy and the sheer excitement from the team. When I swam, the Westlake Rec Center didn't exist. We swam at the North Olmsted Record. However, before the beginning of my freshman year, we learned that the North Olmsted Record Center would be closed down for a couple years in order to repair its roof. So instead of our practices in the afternoon, like most teenagers prefer, we had to practice every morning from 5 to 6 a.m. at the Westlake YMCA. You'd think that these terrible practice times only very serious swimmers would join. Instead, because of the atmosphere that Bob and Don created, we had a large and very successful team. Now, we did have our days where they pretty much had to drag us off the pool deck, where we walked in, laid down on the deck, and didn't want to get into the pool. I'm sure as a whole, we're all combined missing some heartbeats as we dove into the cold water on a cold winter day. I have many memories of the team. all the different personalities that came together on one team to make it so much fun. One year when we were going to the conference meet, there was an issue with the bus, so we had to jump into the cars of those who could drive. Well, the drive there consisted of all sorts of undergarments hanging out the windows and the switching of seats and cars at every single red light. Now, luckily, no swimmers were left standing on the side of the road and none were run over, and we went on to win the conference meet. Second, after the state meet, when Megan was there, some of the farther away teams would stay the night. So those from Cincinnati and everything. And they would leave the next morning after the final day of states. Much to our disappointment, that was not us. A lot of begging to the coaches got us nowhere. On the way back from the meet, something went wrong with the van and Don couldn't get the accelerator to work on the highway. So he switched it into cruise control, got us back close to Westlake where my mom could rescue us on the side of the road. He just knew he was not going to be staying one more night in a hotel with a whole bunch of teenagers with nothing to do the next day. We haven't forgotten. As I look back on my years of swimming, being part of the Westlake High School team ranks as my favorite memories. The support I got from the school was amazing. I look back on the pictures of the school send-offs with a smile. The fact that I was the only qualifier my senior year and the school let me take the 2 friends with me makes all the difference. While I might root for Avon Swimming now that I have my own swimmer there, I still support my Westlake Demons and even have proof of my allegiance shown by this beautiful shirt with furry lettering. Golf team, are you jealous? And they even apparently don't make furry demons, so we had a skull and crossbones. While swimming at its core is an individual sport, my success came as a result of so many individuals from my family, coaches, teammates, and friends. I couldn't have the success I did today and then without the support of every single person who has helped me along my journey. In accepting this award, I'd like to acknowledge my family. First to my parents for everything they did for us over the years. My parents started my sister and I in swimming at a young age as one of the many different sports to try just like every other kid. We quickly took to the sport, and my mom became the master at setting up carpools so that we could be at different practice times. They both quietly supported me by making sure that I got to every meet across the country that I qualified for, even if it meant they couldn't make it. To my husband and kids for coming today to support me and listening to my many swimming stories over the years, and I have a lot. Finally, to Bob and Don and Westlake High School for allowing me to be part of something so special that has shaped who I am today. I look back on so many fond memories, and I can't help but smile and think how blessed that I've been. So thank you to the High School Hall of Fame Committee for selecting me for this award, and I hope that I'll always be an ambassador for Westlake High School sports.
Before everyone runs off, a couple of just quick comments. In your program on the back is next year's date. The other thing that we want to do is we want to conclude, as we always do with the alma mater, and I need the students at Westlake High School to go back there. Where's Mr. Hill? Mr. Hill's in the back of the room. So I'd like the high school students to go to the back of the room with Mr. Hill and lead us in the alma mater. I also want to just thank everyone again for being here, and the inductees. Make sure when you conclude tonight that the inductees, please meet over here so we can get an official picture of the inductees.